I want you to picture a specific moment. You've just signed up for the latest, greatest productivity tool.
Hmm.
The marketing promised it was, powered by next-gen AI. It's supposed to do your job for you while you sip coffee. You open it up, ready for the magic, and you just
The
freeze.
dashboard paralysis, I know it well.
Right. It's not broken. It's just that there are 12 different graphs, a sidebar predicting your future revenue, a chatbot blinking at you, and some significant score of 84.
And instead of feeling powerful, you just feel tired.
Immediately tired. Why does smarter technology so often feel like such a massive burden?
Well, that's the central irony, isn't it? We have these tools that are technically brilliant at processing data, but they're failing spectacularly at processing humans.
And that is exactly where we are going today. We aren't looking at code optimization or model training. We are looking at the user's brain. We're doing a deep dive into psychology-led AI product strategy.
Which is really about answering one big question. How do you design an artificial intelligence that doesn't trigger a biological threat response in the person using it?
A threat response. That sounds a little dramatic for a spreadsheet app.
We'll get into it, but yeah, it's more biological than you'd think.
Okay. To help us navigate this, we have a really unique stack of sources. We've got excerpts from Architecting the Human Mind, a breakdown of AI-aware product design by Jojo Noon, and this manifesto.
Oh, I love the title.
It sounds like it belongs in a spy novel, The Art of Strategic Camouflage in AI Design.
That manifesto is just fascinating because it flips the usual narrative. I mean, usually companies want to shout, look, we have AI.
And this argues the exact opposite.
Right.
Plus, we're going to look at a visual schematic later that maps out this whole ecosystem literally, with plants and servers coexisting.
It's a great visual.
But let's start with that feeling of fatigue. You mentioned a threat response. I'm skeptical. If I open a piece of software and it's confusing, I'm annoyed, sure. But am I threatened?
Biologically, yes. You have to remember what the primary directive of the human brain is. It isn't to be smart or do good work. It is to conserve energy and survive.
My brain is definitely an expert at energy conservation.
As is everyone's. The brain is basically a pattern-matching machine. It's constantly scanning the environment, whether that's a jungle or a user interface, and it's asking, do I understand this? Do it safe? What happens next?
Okay, so I open the app, I see a prediction score with zero context. My brain scans for a pattern and finds nothing.
Correct. And that creates a gap. And Architecting the Human Mind explains that the brain hates information gaps more than it hates bad news. When an AI system is opaque, meaning it acts without explaining why, your amygdala actually flags it as a stressor.
So that clunky feeling isn't just bad design taste, it's actual cognitive friction.
It's cognitive load. Jojo Noon's work points out that three things absolutely kill AI products: unclear intent, blind automation, and opaque systems.
So if the tool hands you a complex calculation but doesn't tell you the variables?
It hasn't saved you time. It has just given you a mystery to solve.
It's like a coworker walking by your desk, dropping a file saying 84% and then just walking away. You aren't helped. You're just confused and slightly panicked.
And you spend the next 20 minutes trying to figure out what that 84% means, where it came from, and if you should be worried. That is negative cognitive value. The tech did the math, but you did all the emotional labor.
This brings us to the hero concept of today's deep dive. It's that term from the manifesto, strategic camouflage.
I love this concept.
Now, when I first read this, I pushed back a bit. Camouflage sounds like we're hiding things. In an era where we worry about deepfakes and black box algorithms, shouldn't we be demanding radical transparency? Isn't hiding the AI the wrong move?
That's the intuitive reaction, but the source material makes a really critical distinction. Strategic camouflage isn't about hiding the presence of AI. It's about absorbing the complexity of it.
Okay, absorbing complexity. Unpack that.
Think about the duck on the water analogy they use in the text. It's the perfect illustration.
Okay, so we've got a duck. It's gliding across a pond. To me, on the shore, the movement is smooth, it's linear, it's effortless.
That is the user experience. That is the strategic camouflage. But we all know what's happening just under the surface.
The little webbed feet are just paddling like maniacs.
Right. That paddling is the AI. It's the millions of database queries, the probability weighting, the vector search, the error correction. It's chaotic, it's messy, and it's loud.
And the argument is that the user doesn't need to see the paddling.
In fact, showing the paddling destroys the value of the product.
Because if you show the paddling, you're forcing me to process the mechanics, not just enjoy the result.
Exactly. But And this is the answer to your pushback about transparency.
So the designer's job, according to Jojo Noon, is to be a kind of translator. You stand at the waterline, you see the engineering chaos below, and you translate it into smooth motion above.
Yes. And if you fail as a translator, you get what we see in so many bad AI tools today. You get leakage. The engineering logic leaks right into the interface. You see raw confidence scores, weird formatting artifacts.
You see the duck struggling.
You see the duck drowning. And the moment you see that struggle, the trust just evaporates.
Let's talk about that trust, because the sources go heavy on this concept of mental models. Now, our listeners know what a mental model is. It's the shortcut our brain uses to understand how the world works. If I drop this ball, it falls down.
Right. But AI presents a really unique problem for mental models because it is probabilistic, not deterministic.
Okay, hold on. Explain the difference for the person who isn't a data scientist.
Sure. So traditional software is deterministic. If you typed 2 plus 2 into Excel, it will always equal 4. If it equals 5, the software is broken. Your mental model is, I give input, tool gives fixed output.
Reliable. Boring, but reliable.
AI is probabilistic. It says, based on the data, the answer is probably 4, but it might be 4.1.
Ah.
So if a user applies their old mental model, this machine is always right, to a probabilistic tool, and the AI hallucinates or makes a weird guess.
The mental model just snaps.
It shatters.
Yeah.
And once a mental model is broken, it is incredibly hard to rebuild. The user immediately categorizes the tool as unreliable or, worse, unsafe.
So how does strategic camouflage fix that? Because you can't just force the AI to be perfect. It's always going to be probabilistic.
This is where explainable moments come in. The manifesto argues that you have to design interactions that meet the user's expectations first, and only introduce the magic when you can actually explain it.
The text says something like, not more information, just the right information at the right moment.
Precisely. Let's take that dashboard example again. A bad design just says, risk, high. That breaks the mental model because the user has no idea why. A camouflage design might say, we flagged this transaction because it occurred in a different country than your last login.
See, that's interesting. It's actually more transparent, but it feels simpler.
It creates a bridge. It connects the magic, the AI detection, to the mental model, which is, if I'm in New York, I can't be buying coffee in Paris. It turns the threat into a tool.
It validates the user's logic rather than just replacing it.
That's the key phrase, validating logic. Too many AI products try to replace user logic. Don't worry your pretty little head, the computer knows best. That triggers the threat response.
Right.
Strategic camouflage says, here is what I found, and here is why it matters to you.
I want to look at this from a different angle, literally. We have this image source. It's a schematic of an AI-aware ecosystem.
It's a beautiful piece of visual storytelling.
Describe it for us, because usually when I see an AI diagram, it's just nodes and lines and maybe a picture of a robot shaking hands with a businessman.
The classic stock photo. Yeah, this is different. At the center, you have the AI cloud, sure. But radiating out from it are very tangible, industrial, and human elements. You have factory robot arms, you have tablets displaying checklists, you have documents.
But the thing that stuck out to me was the foliage. There are plants, big leafy plants woven into the diagram. And the color palette is soft blues, purples, greens.
It's significant. It's rejecting the whole cyberpunk aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's not neon, it's not dark, it's not dystopian, it's organic.
What does that tell us about the strategy?
It visually reinforces the idea that AI shouldn't be a separate alien entity. It should be part of the environment. The plants suggest that technology is just another layer of the natural ecosystem of work.
It's the mesh concept.
Right. The AI is the soil, or maybe the air. It connects the factory arm to the tablet, but it isn't the point of the picture. The point is the entire ecosystem functioning as a whole.
Which brings us to what might be the most controversial point in the source material, at least for the tech crowd. The art of restraint.
Oh, developers hate this part.
The manifesto basically says the most intelligent thing an AI designer can do is nothing. Knowing when not to use AI.
It just flies in the face of the current hype cycle. Right now, the mandate from investors is put a chatbot in it. Toasters, toothbrushes, calendar.
I swear I opened a recipe app the other day and it asked me if I wanted to chat with my lasagna.
No!
Yes! I just want the temperature for the oven.
That is the perfect definition of cognitive clutter. The designer thought, we have this capability, so we have to use it. But the user just has a simple goal. By inserting AI where it wasn't needed, they just increased the friction.
So strategic camouflage is also about silence.
It's about being quiet and intentional. If the workflow is simple, like setting an oven temperature, the AI should just shut up. It should be invisible.
Hmm.
You only surface the intelligence when the complexity of the task exceeds the user's ability to handle it easily.
So am I trying to plan a meal for 20 people with 5 different allergies? Then Lasagna Bot can show up.
Exactly. Then the paddling is useful. The AI absorbs the complexity of the allergies and portions. But for a simple task, the paddling is just noise.
This all sounds great in theory. Be quiet, be helpful, look like a duck. But we have to talk about the people who actually have to build this stuff.
The engineers.
Because I can just imagine a designer coming in with this gliding duck philosophy, and the back-end engineer looks at the server limitations and just says, yeah, that's not happening.
And that is the engineering reality section of our deep dive. And honestly, it's where most of these wonderful strategies die.
The source mentions technical debt as a major barrier to strategic camouflage. Can you explain that connection?
Well, think about the gliding duck again. To make that movement look smooth on the surface, the paddling underneath has to be incredibly fast and coordinated.
Right.
In software terms, that means low latency, high data availability, and massive processing power.
Speed costs money, and it costs computing cycles.
A lot of them. Let's say you want an invisible AI that auto-completes your sentences as you type. To make that feel like thought, it has to happen in milliseconds. If there's a 2-second lag because the server is overloaded,
The illusion is broken. It's not a glide anymore, it's a stutter.
and a stuttering duck is worse than no duck at all. It feels broken. So strategic camouflage forces a very hard conversation between design and engineering. The designer says it needs to be instant, and the engineer says we don't have the bandwidth.
So what happens? Do they just compromise?
Usually, yes, and that's the danger. They might decide to fake the glide. They use something called optimistic UI, showing the user a result before the server has actually confirmed it.
That sounds really risky.
It is. Because if the AI guesses wrong, or the server fails, you have to revert the screen. The user sees the text appear, then disappear. You've now basically gaslighted your user.
I swear I saw that email send.
That is a failure of camouflage caused by engineering constraints. The source argues that if you can't support the glide, technically, if you can't make it seamless, you shouldn't try to fake it. You should revert to a clearer, more manual interface.
Better to be an honest boat than a fake duck.
I think I'm going to steal that quote. Better an honest boat than a fake duck. Yes.
There's also the issue of edge cases. We talked about how the brain hates uncertainty, but the real world is messy. Things go wrong.
An AI is trained on historical data, which creates a center of the bell curve bias. It's really good at the normal stuff. It's terrible at the weird stuff.
The outliers.
Jojo Noon's design principles emphasize that strategic camouflage must include graceful failure. When the AI hits an edge case, it doesn't understand. It needs to hand control back to the human smoothly.
It shouldn't crash, and it shouldn't guess wildly.
It should say, I'm not sure about this one, what do you think? That is also a form of camouflage. It frames a limitation as a collaboration rather than a breakdown.
The human in the loop.
Always. The goal isn't to replace the human, it's to augment them. If the AI pretends to be infallible, the human checks out. If the AI admits it needs help on the tricky parts, the human stays engaged.
It's funny, we started this conversation talking about how AI makes us feel tired and threatened, but everything we've discussed, camouflaging complexity, explaining intent, respecting limits, it all sounds oddly human.
That's the psychology-led part. We aren't really redesigning the computers to be better computers. We're redesigning them to fit the shape of the human mind.
We're making the tech accommodating to our biology rather than forcing our biology to adapt to the tech.
Which is how it always should have been. The tool serves the user, not the other way around.
So tomorrow when our listeners open up their laptops and start their day, they're going to be looking at their screens differently. They're going to be looking for the paddling.
And hopefully they'll notice where the water is smooth, too.
Before we go, I have a thought that's been nagging at me while we discuss this perfect camouflage.
Let's hear it.
We've established that the goal is for the AI to be so invisible, to guide us so smoothly and absorb so much complexity that we don't even feel the threat of decision-making. We just flow.
That's the ideal user experience, yeah.
But if the camouflage works perfectly, if the system anticipates my needs, filters my data, and nudges my choices without me ever feeling the friction,
I see where you're going with this.
At what point do I stop being the pilot? I mean, if the system is quietly filtering out 90% of the options to save me cognitive load and presenting me with the one choice it calculates as best, and I just click approve because it feels so easy.
You have to ask, whose intuition is that, really?
Exactly. Am I making a decision? Or am I just signing off on a decision the system made for me, designed to feel like it was my own idea all along?
That is the ultimate question of agency in the age of AI. Is the glide freedom, or is it just a very comfortable set of rails?
Something to think about the next time you click accept without thinking. Thanks for diving deep with us.
Always a pleasure.